Hello, everybody. This is All Things Parks reporting in from Orlando, Florida. Today, we had some big news with the reopening of CityWalk over at Universal Orlando, and we had the pleasure, the mighty fine pleasure of being able to go check it out over there. So, we're going to kind of just break down what we saw, what happened over there, what was going on, and hopefully it's a little informative for you and maybe helps you make a decision if it's something that you want to check out in the near future here. So. Here, as always, with my lovely sister Erica, and so she was with me this afternoon when we checked out CityWalk. So tell me, kind of what your first reactions were of the new normal over there.
It was strange. It was strange walking in. As soon as you went to the parking garage, you're ushered in. First is going to be your temperature check. So they have the 6-foot markings in line for temperature checks. Go through that as long as you're temp free. You go to the next stage where then you have your bags checked. But it's kind of nice instead of like them going through each individual bag, everything's gone through like at the airport. So you just put it through, and then that way they're not touching your stuff and then the next person's stuff. And then you're pretty much on your way after you walk through the metal detectors. But then they had like right at the entryway where the overhead bridge is for Welcome to Universal. They had, 2 cast members up there talking, saying, like, just so you know, we have reduced hours, what's going to be open, so kind of giving you, that opening info so that you're not super disappointed when you find out the chocolate emporium's not open or something like that. So I thought they did a fabulous job, felt very safe.
Yeah, so we went and visited 2 different places. We went to Margaritaville and then Voodoo Donuts, but kind of just drawing back to what you were talking about there at the beginning. So the temperature checks, they're all contactless, touchless. What they have is pretty much a temperature scanner. They scan your forehead, and from there they can tell what your temperature rating is. If it's below 100.4, you're free to go. And so that happens pretty much right after you get through or get out of the parking lots, and right before that first main, I guess, walkway escalator to go towards the security check. So the bag check is where it's always been. That hasn't moved, and so you just go through your temperature check before. Like Erica said, they have those markings on the floor with kind of stickers that make you space 6 feet apart. And I thought it moved really smoothly, actually. I mean, we were there right at 4, so it wasn't crazy packed when we got there, but even as we were leaving, there was still, we left around 7 o'clock, and there wasn't, a huge line or anything like that, so it seemed like they were getting people through, and with that touchless scanner, it did move pretty quickly, so, that was good to see, because I was worried that maybe it was going to make for a tough entrance getting in there, but it was pretty fluid.
I agree. Got in there, no problem.
And everybody's wearing their masks.
Everybody
so
except this one.
There was one.
There was one.
I'm sure she had a mask. It just wasn't on at that time that we saw her. But you never know. There's always one.
There's always
Don't be that one.
We found the one today, y'all. But we made our first stop at Margaritaville, which was awesome. So tables are definitely spaced out much further than, obviously, the old normal. Yep. And our waiter was awesome, so just huge shout out to all the cast members because everyone was extremely friendly, extremely welcoming, and excited to be there. So that was great to see. But sat down, we got our cardstock menus that will just be thrown out, so a little disappointed in that. Feel like, eco-friendly, just like normal paper, or seeing some plastic that can be wiped off and sanitized would be a little bit more helpful than the actual whole cardstock. So we got 3 menus for 3 of us. Probably could have just shared one, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then also what was, a little room for improvement is they gave us right away our silverware. And we just went for drinks and appetizers, so we didn't really need it. So just holding off on giving us that so that they wouldn't have to throw out those napkins and stuff and then wash the silverware before giving it to the next table.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that it made for a lot of waste, which I know is one thing that Florida is trying to, and a lot of states are trying to really make headway on is eliminating waste, and it seems like now it's just ramped up even more. So I think if you laminate your menus and disinfect them after each use, and maybe ask people, hey, are you open to sharing menus so that you're not using so many all the time? And I think people will oblige to that. I think the guests are aware of what's happening, obviously, and they're going to accommodate what their expectations are to meet the situation at hand. So, and I think that one of the other things that our waiter did really well was kind of set the expectation when he came to the table, where, he came into the table at one spot and he said, hey, I'm going to only come to this spot the whole time. I'm going to bring all of your drinks, any of your food here to this spot, and then I'll ask if you would just pass it out. That way, he's not reaching around or touching a bunch of places on the table. So I thought that was really good, and that was one of the things that I hadn't really heard of places going to be doing. So I thought that was really smart, and I think it added to the detail on the safety.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously no one's really been out for the past 2 months, so just him coming over and kind of saying this is what's going to happen kind of eases any fears that might have been present amongst people.
Yeah, and so you're able to take your mask off once you get seated, and it's pretty much just like normal dining from there. You pass out your own food and drink from the one spot of the table, but other than that, it's normal dining. The other thing that they did that was a little different was instead when you're paying your bill, instead of giving your card for the initial receipt and then them running it and then bringing it back so you can leave the tip, you just do it all before you run the transaction. So you tip on the amount before you give them your card for the transaction, and then that way they just run it all together. So there's only one transfer of that bill, which again, the more times you can get rid of any contact right now, the better.
Right, absolutely. Yep, and then we left there, walked on over to Voodoo Donuts to get our sugar fix, and that was a little bit of a wait, so we waited almost about 30 minutes probably. Mm-hmm. But again, there was just continuous stickers of stand 6 feet apart, stay healthy, and they did a really good job of having a lot of cast members present to kind of guide you, okay, now we need 2 more to step to this line. So even though we were a party of 3, they kind of separated us out to be a group of 1 and 2, just to encourage more of that social distancing. But then once inside, there was a few different checkpoints that you kind of moved throughout. And then once inside, there was kind of a general waiting area where there wasn't as much direction like there was in the queue line in when you're just waiting for your order.
Yeah, and they have their employees inside wiping down railings. They had, obviously, if you've been to Voodoo Donuts, they have that huge donut throne. They had someone standing right next to it that was wiping it down if people were on there taking photos. And then I saw quite a few other employees just around CityWalk wiping down railings as we were walking through. So I thought overall they were doing a really good job of really being courteous to wipe things down and kind of constantly looking for things to do to really aid in the safety of it all.
Yeah, 100%. Huge shout out to all the workers today, because you could definitely tell they were excited to be there, where kind of weary going into it, how are they going to feel about having to be back? But they were amazing, and obviously the reason that it was possible. So I think Universal is setting the bar extremely high. But obviously they have to.
Right. And so, with this, I think moving forward, we're probably going to see a lot of happenings from this, I would say. So I think this is kind of going to be a good test run throughout the weekend here, just to see how it goes. And like I said, it wasn't crazy crowded. So capacity, it was pretty easy to stay 6 feet away from people when you're walking just through the CityWalk area there. But, I don't know if that's something where they were limiting people. But again, it's not like there were cars lined up or people lined up to get there. So I think that it was a really good opening. And it allowed them to try some things out probably and kind of go back to the retooling shed and see what worked, see what didn't work, and kind of adjust from there. So, like I said, I think Monday we'll probably get some more announcements with other places opening now that they've seen the success that the first day has brought, and I think that success is going to carry throughout the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. And upon leaving, they kind of asked you to fill out a survey, so just taking a picture with your phone, and it brought you to the site, so you could just do it again, hands like not touching their stuff, but you could just do it on your own phone. So I'm sure with that information, what they gather, that they'll just continue to make more improvements to make the new norm as safe as possible.
Without a doubt. So yeah, we definitely recommend checking it out. If you're, like I said, if you're on the fence, we felt completely safe and secure over there. It seemed like they were taking all the proper precautions and making all of the right measures over there. So we're looking forward to seeing it expand and push forward into more things coming open and more things coming back online.
Absolutely. They also have hand sanitizer stop points very often throughout.
Yeah, take full advantage of those. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below. We're going to be posting a lot of content lately, especially with things starting to reopen, and all of the fun coming back into the area here. So hopefully we'll have quite a lot of content coming up for y'all. And again, just follow us and check us out on Instagram as well. We're posting constantly there. And if you have any suggestions as far as what you'd like to see, go ahead and post those below as well. But thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time. All Things Parks here, signing off.